Hey, Taylor Elwood here, and to celebrate the fact that I have finished all of the layout for my back catalog of books, which means that they're going to be coming out soon with new covers and under my own imprint, I decided I'd do a video today, since it's been a little while. And I wanted to continue the chanting series because last time, well, not last time, but the previous video I ended up talking a bit about chanting, and I thought this time what I would do is explore how chanting can actually be not just something that you hear, but an actual physical sensation, a feeling. So you might wonder, well, what does that mean? Well, let's take the sound of ah. I'm going to go ahead and chant this, and humor me and pause this video and go ahead and chant it as well. Ah, ah, ah. Of course you're making sound, but do you notice how it's also a feeling? And it's a feeling that spreads out through your body. It's a feeling of expansion. Let's contrast that with another sound. Let's go with I. So I, I, I. Notice how that feels different. It's more compressed. It's more focused. So we have the sound of ah, which is more expansive, and then we have this other sound of I, which is more compressed. Okay, that sounds interesting, right? You're probably thinking at this point, great, Taylor. We can make sounds and they have physical sensations, but what does this have to do with magic? Good question. When it comes right down to it, if we're doing chanting, we have to ask ourselves why we're doing chanting. What is the purpose? The purpose of chanting is to connect with something. It's to connect with a spirit or an energy or a deity or whatever you want to connect with. So if we're making these noises, what are we really doing? Well, we're creating a connection to whatever it is that we're connecting to. And part of that connection is based on the sound, but part of it's also based on the sensation, the physical feeling that's generated. And also by what it means internally. What does it mean in here? Not just what does it mean in the world around us, but what does it mean in here? When we look at magic, we want to look at it as it relates to how is it affecting us in here, and how is it affecting the world around us. So in the case of this energy, if we look at these vowel sounds, in this case we're associating them with elemental energies. And so what are we really doing? Well, if we look at ah and what ah represents, ah being an A, from a Western magic perspective, ah is representative of water. Well, water is expansive. Water's most of the time moving. There are cases of stagnant water, but generally water is moving. It's expansive. Now let's look at I. I is focused. It's sharp. It's like a laser. Well, it's fire, right? At least in my system. It doesn't have to be for your system, but for my system in terms of just what we're talking about here. So here's a sample chant that I learned, a vowel chant that I learned from R.J. Stewart. It's E-I-O-A-U, and it embodies the four essential elements of air, fire, water, earth, and then the sound of oo, which is basically the representation of spirit, wrapping it all together. So I'm going to do this chant. Feel free to pause this video and do it yourself after you've heard me a couple times. And what you want to do is you just want to pay attention to those physical sensations and then ask yourself, how would those sensations match up with the elemental energies? So here we go. E-I-O-A-U, E-I-O-A-U, E-I-O-A-U. So, what's happening here is we're chanting this and we're going through this broad range of sounds, of shapes, of movements, and we're switching from one elemental energy to another. Give it a try. Pause the video and go ahead and give this a try. Just and pay it, and then on like a piece of paper write down what you experience. Okay, we're back. Great. Now keep in mind something here, which is important. What's important is that the sound that you're making is really something that should ideally connect you with that elemental energy. But if you haven't taken the time to form that association, then you are just making sounds. Okay? E-I-O-A-U. Great. Doesn't mean anything if there's no association. So, I mean, just because I've told you that there's an association there doesn't mean that there is. You have to work with it. You have to feel it. You have to connect with it. It's something that has to be experienced. This is why, really, when we look at magic, magic isn't suited to being just an intellectual practice. An intellectual practice will never inform experience, but experience informs intellect. And so when you experience something, that's when you begin to know it. You bring it into yourself and you bring it into the world around you, and that's really the purpose of sound. Sound is something that's not just heard, it's something that's felt and experienced. And when you are vocalizing something, you are vocalizing it internally, and you're vocalizing it to the world around you. You're feeling it internally, and you're causing the world around you to feel it. And that is how we end up creating sacred space and time. Fascinating stuff, huh? So, that's my video. I just thought I would make one because it's been a little while, and I wanted to share that interesting concept with you. And there will probably be some further explorations of sound in later videos, or not. We'll see. I mean, I'm just going to kind of go with the flow here. But I just wanted to share that with you. Have a great day.